Ow! You knew we had to do that, right? Friday, November 19th. We've got Eclipse Day. Hi, Thomas Miller. Welcome into the Fun Astrology Podcast. And we are going to jump right into the eclipse, and I'm actually releasing this on the 18th, Thursday evening, because I wanted to get really clear on the time and the aspects and everything around this eclipse in case you wanted to get up and see it live in the morning. All right. We've talked about the eclipse through the week, but I really have not wrapped my head around it until today, which I'm recording this on Thursday. So this is Friday's podcast recorded on Thursday. But as I go to timeanddate.com just to drill down on kind of what's going on here, what do we have in front of us? Great website to watch eclipse information on. And it gives you, if you just search up the time and date eclipse, it's the one right at the top. And it will show you the map of where this eclipse will be visible. So basically North and South America, most of Europe, at least partially, the west coast of Africa, going all the way down to, yes, Hawaii, the Pacific Ocean, all of you, the North Pacific and the South Pacific. So that's New Zealand, Australia, the Far East, into and a lot of Russia. I guess we almost should say who isn't going to see it. Parts of Africa, the Middle East, and some parts of East Central Europe. But you can check out timeanddate.com for that. I'm going to give you some resources here. Now, if you want a list of eclipses, this was one that I found that, bless her heart, she put a lot of work into this list. This is at cafeastrology.com, which many of you might be familiar with and probably have read some information on. Annie Heese is the author of Cafe Astrology, and I got to say, Annie, tipping my hat, this is a great piece of work and took you a long time, and it shows. But if you search Cafe Astrology Eclipses, you get a list. I mean, extensive list that goes back to, let's see, before we were all born. March 23rd, 1940 is the first one on this list. So if you want an extensive time, date, solar, lunar, sign that they were in, etc., and even the degrees, it's a great list. cafeastrology.com. Now, while I'm throwing down resources, I've got to add my buddy Jamie Partridge at astrologyking.com on this. He has a great article. Just search Astrology King Eclipse November 2021. His article is also worth reading. And kind of a shout out to Jamie. He's been going through a battle with cancer. Looks like he's doing fairly well. I see that he recently, I think, has added readings back. So that's a great sign. You know, the astrological community is a tight community, and Jamie's one of the white hats. He's one of the good guys. So I always like to give credit where credit is due, and he writes a wickedly great blog. So those are some resources to do a little extra work, and I'm not going to take the time to do that here because I want to put my own spin here, and then you can read those other resources for additional embellishment. So if you've been with us for a while, and oh, by the way, Stephanie will be here tomorrow, yes, and we're going to be talking about the North Node, which kind of fits into the landscape of the eclipse season as well. We did the South Node last Saturday, North Node in medical astrology tomorrow. But if you've been following for a while, I'm kind of that persuasion that eclipses are, well, as in fact, Astrology King, Jamie Partridge says, full moon on steroids. You know what's been funny is I'm seeing, like in our Facebook group, Subconscious Mind Mastery podcast listeners, also some other posts, people are feeling this energy right now. I've seen something that was interesting. Last night, I was logging on to Robert Glasscock's Solar Arc class, and people were having trouble logging on, almost like Mercury retrograde kind of trouble. And today, when I came into my audio booth, I had to reboot everything because it wasn't working right. And this thing sits here. It is, it's designed in a way to be fire it up and go. So there's something electrical going on, it seems. Seen it twice in just over 12 hours. Then we have the nodes of the moon. So right now, let's see, we're sitting at the eclipse at 27 degrees, 14 minutes. The South Node, North Node are sitting at 1 degree, 47 minutes. So that's what, a little over 4 degrees orb? So maybe just past the astronomical phenomenon of what happens in our world when these shadows are cast, then maybe it would be that we just take a look at the nodes and we focus on the karmic work. Now, what I think we'll do is stop here for this podcast, and I'm going to release this on Thursday because some of you might want to get up and see the eclipse. Then what we'll do is our regular podcast for tomorrow morning that will be released at the regular time. And what I'd like to do is refer you again to these other sources, particularly Jamie Partridge's Astrology King blog. Fill in the details there. He covers them all of the other things that I'm not going to. When we come back tomorrow, we're going to talk specifically about the nodes and the karma around the eclipse. If I tried to do it here, this would just go too long. So we'll do it in a separate one that will be released at 4 a.m. Eastern Time, Friday morning on the 19th. Hope you enjoy the eclipse for what it is. It's a beautiful, wonderful natural phenomenon where we get to celebrate the heavens. See you back tomorrow morning for part 2